Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. Welcome to the segment called Top List. It was formerly called Top Tuesday, but I couldn't commit to doing Tuesday. Plus, I'm not sure if I'm going to do a top 5 or a top 10 or a top 20 going forward. So I'll just call it Top List with no particular day or number and post them randomly, most likely Thursday or Friday. Today, the topic is going to be the top 10 hip hop variant covers from Marvel. And here we go. In fall of 2015, Marvel closed out Secret Wars and redid all their continuity with the all-new, all-different Marvel and restarting virtually all of their titles back to issue number 1. And of course, with that came variants, and plenty of them. Some of the most popular ones were the hip-hop variants, which paid homage to classic hip-hop albums back in the day, and some recent releases as well. I don't have enough time to discuss the cultural significance in hip-hop in total, but I will discuss its roots. When a lot of people hear the phrase hip-hop, they think of the music, but that's only partially right. Hip-hop is a unique subculture that's built on 4 pillars: DJing, MCing, breakdancing, and graffiti art. The founder of hip-hop music is credited to Clyde Campbell, also known as Kool Herc. He's the son of Jamaican immigrants that moved to the Bronx in the 1960s. He got the name Kool Herc, which is short for Hercules because he was such a big guy. He started throwing parties in the early 1970s where he was DJing them. He was heavily influenced by James Brown and an offshoot of reggae that's called dub from Jamaica, where you would take existing songs and strip it down to the bass and the drums and chant over it about what's going on today. Kool Herc did his version of dub by taking 2 of the same record and isolating the breakdown, also known as the break. So people who danced to those breaks were called break dancers. That's where that comes from. Another Jamaican immigrant named Kevin Donovan changed his name to Africa Bambaataa. He's a former gang leader who founded the Zulu Nation and started throwing parties like Kool Herc did. He's best known for the classic song Planet Rock. And then there's Joseph Sadler, who is an immigrant from Barbados. He's best known as Grandmaster Flash. He invented the crossfader and he was very influential in scratching. So when it comes to the founding of hip hop music, it's going to be Kool Herc, Africa Bambaataa, and Grandmaster Flash. Shown here is a promotional flyer from Kool Herc's first party in 1973. The kids attending that night probably had no idea they were changing the world. Hip hop has always been do-it-yourself, kind of DIY, sort of like punk rock. If they didn't have a venue to throw a party at in the 1970s in the Bronx, they would actually take it to the street and get power from reworking light posts. Throughout the 70s, hip-hop was an underground phenomenon that spread through all of the boroughs. Its first taste of mainstream success was Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang, which dropped in late 1979, but critics thought it would just be a fad and would go away. But that's not the case. It just got bigger and stronger. I think the biggest watershed moment for hip-hop going mainstream is probably Run DMC teaming up with Aerosmith to do Walk This Way in 1986. The 1986 hit is a rework of Aerosmith's 1975 release. The success of this song took hip-hop from the underground and strictly urban music to the suburbs and showed that rap stars could be rock stars as well. And it wasn't just a fad or a fluke. Hip-hop music has spinned off into many different genres like Miami bass, crunk, snap, trap, hi-fi, gangster, New Orleans bounce, conscious rap. There's too many to name. Hopefully this helped you learn about the importance of the early days of hip-hop and its founding. But for now, let's get into the variants that I was talking about. I do want to say that I have been critical about Marvel doing way too many variants, but that's the ratio variants where you have to order so many to get one copy of some special book. That was not the case with the hip hop variant, so I thought it was a good idea. So in saying that, let's get started with the top 10 hip hop variants published by Marvel Comics. Number 10. Black Widow number 1, Missy Elliot variant. This is a reboot of the Black Widow title released in March of 2016. It pays homage to Missy Elliott's 1997 Super Dupa Fly album. The best known song from this album is The Rain, Super Duper Fly. Missy performed with Katy Perry in the 2015 Super Bowl. Number 9. Power Man and Iron Fist number 1 Mobb Deep variant released in February of 2016. It's inspired by Mobb Deep's 1995 album called The Infamous. The best known song on this album is Shook Ones, which is a warning to other fake thugs not to cross them, or you might get hurt. That definitely will apply to Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Number 8. Invincible Iron Man number 1 50 Cent variant, which was released in October of 2015. It pays homage to 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die Trying album from 2003, which was a monster hit, and includes the hip-hop classics In the Club and 21 Questions. To me, 50 Cent is sort of like the rock star Peter Frampton. He was so huge when he first dropped, but he never quite measured up to that ever again. Number 7. Spider-Man #1, the NAS Variant. This is the Miles Morales version of Spider-Man. And this is his post-Secret Wars debut out of Ultimate and in the 616 regular continuity. It was inspired by Nas's 1994 Illmatic album. Most critics name it as one of the top 10 hip-hop albums of all time, and it's best known for its hit, The World Is Yours. Seriously, you gotta like that. That's just awesome. #6. The Punisher #1 from 2016, the LL Cool J variant. This is a very fitting cover for Frank Castle, and it's inspired by LL Cool J's 1990 album, Mama Said Knock You Out. This was his comeback album after everybody thought he was washed up, and he proved the naysayers wrong. This is getting pretty good, isn't it? Well, hold on to your seats, because it only gets better. #5. Spider-Gwen Volume 2 #1 Slick Rick variant. Released in October of 2015, it's inspired by Slick Rick's 1988 album, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick. The album contains some monster hits like Mona Lisa and Children's Story. Rick was already a legend for his contribution to the hip-hop classic The Show Back with Lottie Dottie, but this 1988 debut solo album made him an icon among hip-hop fans. #4. Miss Marvel #1 with the Lauryn Hill woodcut variant. The new Miss Marvel is Kamala Khan, a Muslim and human with morphing abilities. This was inspired by Lauryn Hill's 1998 smash hit, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The best known song on it is Doo Wop That Thing, but it's one of the best albums of any genre of any time, mixing hip-hop, 70s soul, and Jamaican rhythms all together seamlessly. The Kamala Khan homage variant cover is probably one of the most in-demand hip-hop variants out there, and for good reason. This is very special. #3. Spider-Man and Deadpool #1 Eric B. and Rakim variant. The ultimate odd couple, of course. This cover was inspired by Eric B. and Rakim's classic 1987 album Paid in Full. The rapper Rakim on the right is probably one of the most respected rappers of all time. The title song Paid in Full and just about every song on this album is a hip-hop classic. Marvel did a spectacular job paying homage to this incredible album. #2. Ant-Man #1 Biggie Smalls variant. This is one of the funniest covers you're going to find in the hip-hop variants. Released in October 2015, it pays homage to Biggie Smalls' debut album, Ready to Die. It's credited as Notorious B.I.G., but everybody knows him as Biggie anyway. To me, Biggie Smalls would be what Jimi Hendrix is to rock. They both had short careers that ended in tragedy and them dying young, but what they left behind is phenomenal. This Ant-Man cover is not only very funny, but it's a very nice tribute to one of the greatest rappers of all time. Before we reveal #1, let's look at some honorable mention nominees. Music, please. All New Wolverine #1 pays homage to DMX's Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood from 1998. The Ultimates Volume 2 #1 pays homage to the Fugees' 1996 album, entitled The Score. The Extraordinary X-Men pays homage to De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising album from 1988. The Uncanny Avengers pay homage to Public Enemy's first album, Yo, Bum Rush the Show from 1987. The Guardians of the Galaxy are paying homage to The Far Side and their Bizarre Ride album from 1992. Alright, let's get to #1. Who's it gonna be? #1. The A-Force Volume 2 #1 NWA Variant. Released in January of 2016, this is Marvel's all-female super team. Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, Medusa, and other high-powered ladies. It pays homage to NWA's 1988 classic, Straight Outta Compton. What can you say about this supergroup? Members Dr. Dre and Ice Cube are now household names, but at the time they were considered dangerous gangster rappers and received threatening letters from the FBI for their song F the Police. There's a 2015 movie that chronicles the rise and fall of NWA that's definitely worth seeing, and check these out side by side. That's just an amazing piece of art and a fantastic tribute. Okay, that concludes my list of the top 10 hip-hop variants that Marvel has released. So tell me, what do you think of the list? And do you have your own top 10 that you would like to post? Speak up in the comment section below. Be sure to follow my blog at comicpower.net. On social media, follow me at facebook.com/comicpower.net and comicpower-universe.tumblr.com. And don't forget twitter.com/comicpowersub. I also sell comics on eBay at this link. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye.